Yeah.
All right, 4:01 p.m. We will call the Middleton Tourism Commission August 20th meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the July 16th meeting minutes. Everybody had a chance to review. Have any additional input, questions, would like to make a motion?
I can.
And move to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved.
I'm sorry, who moved for that? Kevin
Todd
seconded?
and
Todd
Kevin
and-
second, yep.
Let's try to upload.
We've got 3 grant applications, which I will recuse myself from the conversation, so
Okay.
hand over to Mari.
All right, so hopefully you guys were all able to review the packet and the email. The packets also, which I'll just go through these one by one. So Acres USA. Gotta go through here. So Acres USA, they're requesting a $5,000 grant. This will be this December at the Marriott. They are expecting, and does this look correct to you, 700 overnight rooms?
That's their contract.
Is this the kind of, is this conference one that's tax exempt?
No, they're a for-profit entity, I believe.
Okay, that makes it even better.
Yep.
So this is an excellent piece of business for us in Q4. I think this is also their very first time with us.
Yep, it used to be based in St. Louis.
Yeah, and she actually sent me like follow-up emails with like a video and all these other things, but I didn't feel like you guys needed that much convincing. If you have any questions, just ask me or Jim. But otherwise, I would say, do we have any questions?
No, this one seems like a easy one.
A pretty easy one. Can I ask for a motion then to grant this particular grant request? And I would say that we should make it like $10 a room night up to 5,000 to make sure that those room blocks stay in Middleton. If someone would like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, Jose?
Sure.
Okay. Jose makes a motion to
Grant the $10 per room up to $5,000.
Perfect.
I second it.
Seconds. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, passes. Look at that. I even did that correctly that time, guys. Oh yeah, and they had their full budget on here. Like they were.
She's very detailed.
They were together.
Yeah.
Sports specialist. This is a repeating piece of business. He usually gets his grant request in way earlier. Something happened. We don't know. But they have been with us quite a few years, and he's asking for $3,000. This is a September event at the Marriott, but they do, I mean, this kind of event, they bring in overnights, but they also go out into the community and they shop and they eat and they do all of those things too. They're expecting 530 room nights over the course of the 3 days. I'm just trying to see here. Oh, and the other thing about this too is there are portions where the public can go and see, you know, because they have the cars out in the, are they doing it in the parking lot this year?
In the conference center.
Okay.
Yep.
And here's their budget. So they do use this for promotion. And they have received our grant before. I skipped over that part, but anybody with any questions about this event?
No questions.
For this, I would also suggest doing $10 a room night to ensure that those rooms stay in Middleton hotel blocks rather than a flat grant. This is their operating. If somebody would like to make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. $10 a night. Up to $3,000.
Excellent. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Any discussion? Can I get a
Nope.
second?
I'll second.
Jose seconds. All right, with no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 Perfect, passes. Look at us go, guys. You're zooming. Wisconsin Land Information Association 2027 Annual Conference. As a caveat to this, or just in addition to this, I should say, they do have, I think it's 2025 regional meetings
Yeah.
set here. I've given them a meeting planner incentive for that to cover bus tour costs because they want to drive downtown. And so then they reached out about a grant request for the 2027 annual conference. All in all, they're asking for $5,500 between sponsorship and meeting planner incentives. Again, as a reminder, you guys don't have to accept all things. You can pick and choose. You can decide they get this or they get this. Meeting planner incentives are often used for pieces of business that don't qualify for grants, so I will throw that out there. This is not booked yet, but they are looking at the Marriott February of 2027. It's always nice to have business in the winter. They're looking at 435 room nights over the course of 3 days. They did provide what their Green Bay numbers were and their last conference in Middleton, which was in 2020, right before the pandemic. So they must have been the last piece of business in Middleton before we officially shut down.
About right.
They're hoping for 500 people, so they are expecting quite a few locals to be traveling in for this. And let's see here. Oh, this is one where she also sent me her budget and I forgot to attach it. So if you have questions about what the money would be used for, they are looking to have, let's see here. I've got to scroll up. If I remember correctly, she wanted to use one of the grants for marketing and speaker fees, and then meeting planner incentive for a coffee break. I just have to find that.
Yeah, that's
section.
what you put in your email.
Okay, good. I was like, I know I had it somewhere.
Speaker fees and AV rentals, and then 1,500 for the coffee break service.
Yes. And this is another that I would suggest that if you vote to approve it, that it should be $10 a room night up to ensure that she worked with the Marriott to do any room blocks at the Marriott or overflow in other Middleton hotels.
And you stated that if we were to grant the full 4,000, you would not recommend doing the meeting planner?
Well, it's your choice. I would say that for an event like this, it's 3 days with only 435 room nights. It's not like one night or 2 nights. So $10 a room night up to $4,000, or you could even say $10 a room night up to $4,350 without a meeting planner incentive. If you think that this piece of business should also include the incentive, that is completely up to you. I would say that $5,500 is a lot of money for a piece of business that is this size, but I could be incorrect about that. Feel free to correct me. And this is also one where, are they a nonprofit?
They are.
Yeah.
And it's a government rated piece of business as well.
So that is something that, I mean, I hate to say it, but we have to take that into consideration. If it's tax exempt, we are not actually making any hotel tax
Well,
dollars off
now
of it.
these room nights are paid for individually, so.
Oh, so those would
But
be,
many of the attendees will be tax exempt because they'll be coming from government
Yes.
organizations. So a small portion will probably still pay taxes, but the majority.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't look for dollar, but we do have to mentally keep track of how many pieces of business aren't actually refilling the grant fund. And so, but this is business in February. And there is potential for rollover into one of the other hotels if you guys, but I'm assuming you could do that 200 block in February.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely can. That's not to say though that, they don't have any evening events really planned. I think there might be one small reception. So I think in the evenings they're on
Oh
their
yeah, I
own.
think she did mention that they're planning on going out at least one night.
Yeah.
So, does anybody have any questions?
I'm good.
I don't have any questions. I think I'd be okay with going to like 4,500 and not doing the 1,500. Does anybody disagree with that? But the $10 a night,
Yeah, it would be $10 a night up to, and
maybe go up a little bit to 4,500 to cover all the potential rooms and then, but not do the 1,500. Thoughts on that?
Jim can't comment. So anybody else have thoughts on that?
Yeah, anybody else disagree with that or?
Yes, Todd, I'd be comfortable with that.
I'm okay with that too.
Okay,
Kevin, would
I'll
you
make a
like to
motion, $10 a
Okay.
night for 4,500, up to $4,500 for the Wisconsin
Any
Land
dis-
Information Association Conference.
Thank you. Any discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
God, get you on there. All right, with no discussion, everyone in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Okay, passes.
Awesome.
Look at us go, everybody.
Speedy.
Okay, and I'm going to, let's see here. I know that we have hotel updates and director updates next, but Todd is on vacation right now and he's lending himself to us specifically to vote on things. Todd, do you want to hang out for the whole meeting or would you like us to skip straight to the budget so that you can bow?
Yeah, if we could do the budget yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
We are completely fine with that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm going to pull up. Hold on. Totally have this in one of my many documents open on my computer. Okay, here we go. Perfect. You're so popular.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. This looks like it. Okay, perfect. Let me, hold on. I've got so many pop-up screens on my computer right now. There we go. That's better. All right, so this is my proposed budget for tourism for 2025. The budget that you all saw in July, it is very, very similar. I did add that $60,000 to advertising. I called it a special project, and we'll get to that in a second because it definitely has like a caveat to it. I also had to tweak a few things when I got some more cost estimates in for marketing and our mat service, and there were a few other little things. All in all, so in July, I said our overall budget increase was going to be right around 4, a little less than 4%. It's now sitting at 9% because of that $60,000. So for marketing, we do have, a fair increase. Those 60 grand of that is for that special project, which we may or may not actually spend. Public relations, I brought that up a little bit just because public relations covers our sweepstakes and the cost of advertising for that has increased every year. And so I just decided I needed to actually add money to that budget. Brochure costs, I brought it down because I have been budgeting 40 grand every year, but we haven't actually had to spend it. So I just decided to bring it back down to 35 and hopefully we'll just keep that within there. This year, we're going to do a lot of design projects. So actually I don't anticipate even spending 35 next year. So hopefully we can keep it there. Printing, we did bring this up, but that's only because I'm hoping to redo a bunch of different things. We added more murals, so we have to reprint our art brochure. There's meeting planner brochures. The bus tour piece has to be updated. We just have a lot of printing that's coming up. I will try to take care of a little bit of that this fall once I have my marketing manager in person, which Todd, I'll just let you know real quick because this is my director's report, but portion. But we do have a marketing manager coming online September 9th, and I'm allowed to announce her name now. Her name's Maggie Rattle. She is coming to us from Sustain Dane. She has several years of marketing experience for a nonprofit working under government, and so I'm really excited to have her coming on board. She's also fluent in Chinese. And so she's she seems like she's going to be incredibly competent and a lot of fun. And once she comes on board, I'm going to throw so much at her, but we might not get to all of those printing pieces, which is why I'm increasing the budget for next year. Website, I actually am bringing it down a little bit because we took care of a few of the things that we had to fix this year. So I don't think, a few of the things that we had to pay to have done. Meals and things, we're keeping all of that the same. There is a tiny increase in communications because IT told us that TDS is increasing our cost for our phones. There's a large increase for building grounds and maintenance because our front brick patio, after all the rain this summer, has completely warped. It's going to have to be fixed. I'm not going to get a quote for another week and a half, actually 2 weeks, and I have to submit the budget. So I threw in $7,000, hoping it's not going to cost us more than that. Because the whole thing might have to be ripped up and then new gravel laid. But it's getting to the point where people are going to trip, so we got to fix it. The research increase is just for membership increase for, which one is this? It's either the STAR report or something like that increased. And I'm keeping the 50 grand in there for the strategic plan. Motor fuel, the reason I increased this at all, because normally I would go down, is because, as you guys all know, the Flex is having a lot of problems. And in fact, the AC just leaked into the floorboards and flooded the entire right side of the vehicle while I was out of town. And we got that all fixed up. We are going to have to purchase a new vehicle in the next year and a half. They told me just to anticipate a lot more fixes. And so they told me to raise my budget under there. The mock takes care of everything and they do a wonderful job. But the car is just, it's dying. I'm sorry. Increase in insurance, city tells me to do that. When Bill tells me that something increases, I add it. I don't know. He pays that. So Destination Madison, this is based on what we paid in 2023, because obviously I don't know what we're paying in 2024, but I actually anticipate this to be even higher. I'm basing our entire budget on 2023, so I just went with this, but it's very possible that that's even higher. Promotions, we aren't changing. Any of these things we aren't changing. There's a very good chance we won't spend all the money in other expenses, which is actually what we call our attorney fees, because our trademarking is almost done. And so other than a whole bunch of contract reviews coming up, I'm hoping we won't even need that large of a budget for next year, but it's in there. Everything under wages is what it is as of 2 weeks ago. So if the city changes anything, this is based on what their proposed COLA is, which I can't remember what it was, like 1 or 2%. If any of that changes, then salary and things change, but this should be pretty darn close. So our overall tourism budget request for 2025 is $1,552,645. And that is, $130,600 increase. That includes the $60,000 for a possible Discover Wisconsin collab commercial thing. It also includes the CXC $50,000 grant that was approved several years ago. It'll be done in 2026, but we approved 2 years ago to do that, even if it comes out of our tourism fund budget. So in all, I'm basing this entire thing on our 2023 revenue, which was $1,525,000. And so if we spend every single dollar, then we will, let me come up here. Yeah, if we spend every single dollar, then our revenue, our expenses, exceed revenue by $27,645. But since that $50,000 for the CXC grant coming out of the tourism fund budget is already approved, technically you don't even need to approve the deficit. But of course, I would never anticipate a deficit without letting the commission know that it's very possible. Now, if we didn't have the $60,000 for that project or that grant, and we spent every dollar and still met our 23 revenue, we'd actually be in the black over 82,000. And so I still feel like it's a very modest request based on where our revenue is now. And I still feel like there's probably a pretty significant chance we won't be spending it all because of grants. And wouldn't be going into our tourism fund balance.
So the 2023 numbers are budget numbers or actual?
The 2023 budget. Oh, no, that was the budget. That's not actually what we spent in last year for 2024 or 2023, excuse me. I can get you that. That was in my January or February report.
Well, the only reason I asked is, you've been a position down a chunk of the year, so I would have guessed that wages and salary
Oh, yeah.
variance would be more
Well,
than 6,000.
in 2022, when I came on as director, we didn't pay a marketing manager from July through December. And then in 2023, we didn't pay for a marketing manager January, February, and that's when the new person came on. And then this year, we haven't paid for a marketing manager since March. So we definitely have not used all of our wages and benefits.
Okay.
I have utilized our marketing agency to help me with some graphics and things that I normally wouldn't have. But that was only a few $1,000s in comparison to,
Okay.
a monthly salary. So let me see here. What was the other thing I was going to? Okay, yep, sorry. So basically, do you guys have any questions? That's my biggest question. Do you have any questions or concerns about this? All right, I have a lot of things open on my personal screen. So let me get out of here.
25% increase in health insurance. Actually, 30%.
And the finance department will go through this whole section. I don't even fill it out.
Sure. No, I get it.
And like, for instance, if there was a typo made, we actually had an issue with the salary because they weren't taking into consideration the new person starting now. You can't get COLA until you've been here 6 months. So she actually wouldn't start COLA until like March. So we had to adjust everything to make sure that all worked. Unless they changed that, which I'd be happy if they did. Also make mathing easier. But yeah, anything that the city actually covers for wages, benefits, and insurance, they will fill those in at the last minute
Okay.
and then update us for the final budget, which I go before finance August 28th. And then they will reconvene and do all of their stuff. If they have questions, if they don't agree with something, they come back, I represent, etc. Last year was November when I found out that our budget was accepted.
Okay.
Because they meet with every single department, so you have to wait until all of that is done. Any questions? If you have questions about a specific thing too, like if you want me to dig into what the different projects under printing are, I can answer all of that. It's just a different Excel sheet.
I think it makes sense considering the cross-country ski grant, that's included in there, obviously, as well as the 60,000 for the other potential project.
Yes.
Otherwise, that percentage increase would be alarming, but I think considering what we know those two things are, it's not.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
So I actually wrote out, because it needs to include the wordage.
Yep.
So if you want to ask that question. Oh, no, you're seeking a motion to approve this budget.
Yeah, absolutely. So
with this.
all right, so what we're looking for is a motion to approve the 2025 tourism budget as stated for $1,552,645 contingent on the already discussed and approved decision that the $60,000 set aside for special projects, which is the Discover Wisconsin advertising project, be reviewed and approved by the Tourism Commission at a future date or otherwise will not be utilized for other marketing projects without the commission's express permission. So essentially that 60,000 can't be used as fluff, right? Unless we do approve to divert it for another project down the road.
I think that's your computer. Just X out. Sorry, guys.
So anybody like to make a motion based upon those stipulations?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget for 2025, based on those stipulations that, the chair just read.
Second,
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
I,
Budget is approved.
Thank you. Thank you all. Okay. Let me,
Thanks for joining on your vacay, Todd.
yes, thank you so much.
no problem. Yeah, I can show you guys the view. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh my
Was
goodness.
that a
Yeah.
mountain?
Lake Charlevoix in Michigan.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the next
Thank you
meeting.
so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, next item is hotel updates. Todd?
we had a pretty decent July at my properties, I guess.
Very good.
Looking at the Wisconsin Star report I got the other day, Madison was they were down in occupancy, Madison as a whole, and basically flat in rate, up 0.8, so a net negative on RevPAR for the month of July. So, I feel like we did better than those results. But August has been a nightmare.
Yeah.
August is very alarming.
Mhm. It is.
With
Yeah, I wonder-
losing CrossFit,
Yeah,
the year over year negative is significant.
it is. It is.
And then, and we're looking at Ironman is not picking up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not compressing out to the west side at all, hardly anymore. I think all the new keys downtown are swallowing that up.
Yep. But, year to date, I think things have been pretty good. I'm hoping that we get through August and get into the football season and that improves a little bit, I guess. I'm just a little wary. We've got members on our team that are really looking forward to the football season, and I'm really cautious right now about are some of these teams going to travel, especially some of the Pac-12 teams. We don't have those built-in rivalries.
Yeah.
And you're talking some significant distances. Are we going to be able to get the compression to drive the rate and see the occupancy? I hope it goes well. I guess time will tell.
Yeah. No, I definitely echo that worry. We've been talking about it actually for the last couple of months internally, and again, about 400 new keys in the last year downtown. The distance traveling for these opposing fans.
Yep.
This will be the year where we learn what that's gonna look like going forward, I guess. Some of these citywides that used to really compress us downtown from downtown, such as Ironman, we're already seeing that. I think we received, I don't know, we offered up 75 rooms. I think we received 7 reservations. So
yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at too.
Yeah.
Type of
yeah, it's concerning. We had a decent July. Ours was, we were back about 100K to budget. And August is looking to be about the same. But yeah, we're hoping for the same thing, a strong Q3, whether it be through transient or, additional group booking in, but it's going to have to be both, obviously. Business travel is still a huge problem.
It is.
It's just pretty much non-existent. I think our largest account last month produced like 35 room nights. So.
When we had a local business account that has a pretty nice sized block at all 3 of my hotels for September, and they're wanting to completely eliminate the one block, one hotel, and cut the others significantly, which is, we've been forecasting that for
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough.
for months now, and it's pretty tough to drop that kind of a number out of the forecast.
It really is. It really is. Yeah, I think it's gonna end up being a tight year for us. I mean, we're still projecting to eke out and beat budget, but it's gonna be close. It's gonna come down to the wire.
Can I ask you both? I was talking to Destination Madison last week about 2025 forecast and about how we haven't seen very much business coming through DM and MASC for booking out in 2025. And they were saying that that was across the board. The entire county was kind of seeing that. Do you guys, how are you feeling about your 2025 with your annual business or the bookings that you're going after?
Yeah, right now, we're ahead of group pace is what we call it, right? So like basically it's a measurement of how many group room nights we should have on the books for 2025 today, right? Based upon historicals and future. So we're ahead of it right now, but I agree. It's the leads have slowed down. They've definitely slowed down. I think it's a combination of, groups that came back, did a 1 year, right, coming out of the pandemic, or maybe they had to, they canceled, they had to re-sign a multi-year in whatever municipality, could be Green Bay, could be the Dells, could be wherever. So I think we're kind of in one of those years. It's a lull before they start looking to then resource new venues for future years. So I do think 25 carries some risk. We as a company, or at least as a property, we're forecasting a 3% growth in budget for next year. So that's also scary.
Yeah, we're at a 2 to 5.
Yeah. I pushed back and tried to get it reduced to 2 and just found out I lost this morning. So it's saying that 3% is what they're looking for.
Wish we were closer to Rockford. They are rocking.
Yeah.
Oh, and it just keeps coming.
Yep. Saw an announcement today that Janesville they just announced a multi-use sports facility and conference center that they're building down there. So
That announcement came almost a year ago.
yeah.
I think it's
But
finally
it's
coming.
almost online.
Yeah. So, I mean, not that that's.
They're repurposing, it was like a strip mall or something.
Yeah.
They completely reimagined, what to do with that space, which was brilliant.
Yeah. Use some existing space.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, I mean, that's really how I've got for updates. It's, it's going well. It's still a little scary.
Okay, well, thank you both for that pep talk. Um,
Sweet but sour.
Yeah. So let me see if I'm pretty sure that I put this on so my Q2 report. Here's the financials. Let's see if I can get this thing to blow up. So this is the financial report. I just quickly though for Q2, I'll look at my other thing here. So the Q2 revenue came in. Q1 was 40,501 change. Q2 was 80,780 and change. And so we were doing pretty well. Especially when, Q1 is never our strongest and Q2 is also, partly in the winter for us. So our total revenue so far is 713,425, which is about 50% of what our revenue forecast was supposed to be. So looking at that, our financial report, I'm trying new things here and how I present the financial report so it looks a little bit more official for you. So this is what we budgeted for this year. This is how much we've actually made. This is how much we still have to left. And so that's 50% of where we are. So tourism marketing and development grant, now it says we've only spent 4,500 of that, but we have several that we haven't paid out. Sports, we actually have no sports grants in 2024 that we have paid out or have been requested. Trade show, we are around 12,000 and that's pretty close to accurate. There's one more show coming this fall that Laura will attend. Destination partnership, 62. This is not including the grants that we have approved this whole summer, because those obviously haven't been paid out. So I am happy that we're already at 50%. And we still have, obviously, the grants that we approved today. 2 of those were destination partnership, but also strolling jazz. Those kinds of things will be coming out of there. And that makes me happy, because I want to see us to be giving our grant dollars to business. Advertising, we have spent about 50% of what we have budgeted, which is right around par. We still have sweepstakes coming up, and the last of the bills for, we do digital marketing through October. And I actually moved a few things around, and we cut a week because everything was costing more than we had even anticipated with our buffer because of the election season. But the results have been pretty decent. Visitor guide, we're not going to spend 40 grand. At most, we're probably going to spend 20, 30, maybe, depending on how many of the edits that we decide to do. Because for every page that you completely redesign, you get charged. But I'm working with an entirely new team at Nye Turner, and my marketing manager hasn't started yet. So we're going to review exactly how much we're going to change this year. It might be like half and half. Promotions. We've only spent 4,200 because we do our buying in the fall. And so we will be spending that 20 grand because we have most of our merch we have to refill. Destination Madison, so far even though the check hasn't processed yet, we paid. Oh shoot, when I read you numbers before for Q1 and Q2, that was our Destination Madison payments. Of course, that doesn't make sense. Our Q2 revenue was 475,181. I'm sorry. Paid to Destination Madison in Q2 was 80,780. My brain, I was looking at one thing and reading another. And so by the way, Q1 and Q2 are both higher than last year. So Q1 and Q2 this year have been very good, even though obviously the summer is being very difficult for all of us. So Destination Madison payments so far are 121,000. And just as an addition to this, I am in the middle of negotiating our new contract with them, which is up at the end of this year. I just had my 3rd meeting. I'm waiting to see what their comments are compared to what Jim and Brian Gatto and I have all sat down and looked at what their proposed agreement was and made some additions. Vehicle expenses. This is like one of those things where I'm just waiting for the mock to put everything in there because obviously we've spent more than $93 on oil changes this year. Visitor Center project. Laura is working on this. We just haven't purchased anything yet. So she's working right now on the TV and the furniture that are going in, pricing out which companies we're going to use to because we're going to blow up some photographs, and those are going to be probably $200 a piece. So we're going to spend that 13 grand. We haven't got to the buying portion. Salaries, obviously, I mean, we're in August and we have only, we still have 46% of our salary budget left because we haven't been paying a marketing manager. It has been me. Meals, we'll probably spend close to that 2 grand by the end of the year between the rest of the conferences coming up. Supplies, we are probably not going to spend the full budget on supplies this year. It all depends on how much the new standing desk costs because Laura's standing desk has completely died. And then, so you can see the rest of this as well. And I mentioned this last time. The reason that training and travel are so low is because we budget for professional development for every employee. The marketing manager obviously hasn't been here, and so they haven't taken advantage. I couldn't take advantage because I've been doing 2 jobs. And so we just didn't spend that this year. It doesn't mean we don't need that money. It just means that 2 of us didn't do anything or go anywhere this year. And utilities, I keep this, by the way, at this budget because they ask me to for buffer. But ever since we replaced the windows, I feel like our utilities have been so much more reasonable. For sure. Research, that's probably about how much we're going to spend, minus, plus or minus. And legal fees, we still have some more legal fees left to go. So we're doing pretty well on some of these things, but like I could show you, like some of these budgets are done. And so here we are. This was our anticipated expenses. We're halfway through the year, and that's how much we have spent. So I feel pretty confident that we're going to be okay, that we're going to end the year in the black, even without having to go into our tourism fund balance for that $50,000 CXC grant. But that option is always available because you pre-approved it, so we won't have to go before finance or anything like that. With that said, I hear you, and I know that we need to find ways to bring more business for the rest of Q3 and Q4. And we are definitely looking at 2025. I mean, we have our first strategic meeting for marketing, and one of the agenda items that we're really focusing on for 2025 strategic plan. And this is our marketing strategic plan. This isn't the big one that we were talking about, the overall, but is going to be meetings, conventions, sports, things like TeslaCon. How do we get things like that here?
Yeah.
From like that size to a Hilton or a Courtyard size, because they're amazing amounts of business. They don't drive ADR down to the ground.
Right.
They're easy to work with. They promote themselves. I mean, it's just an amazing piece of business. And they didn't even ask us for a grant. And so it's like, how do we find those people where they are and help them find us? And I will say Destination Madison has been working really hard with Dane County and the city of Madison to add more direct flights to Dane County Regional Airport, which has to happen. When you're looking at places like Omaha or Dubuque that have like 30, 40 direct flights, and we have like 12, we have to.
Yeah,
if we're going to be
it's one of the
competitive.
biggest impediments for me trying to get larger conventions at the Marriott is the exorbitant added expense for these groups to host here in Middleton because of how expensive it is with connecting flights to get their speakers or just even their attendees. You know, if you're used to having 500, 600, 700 people attend your conference, but you know you might lose 150 or 200 because they'll just wait until the next year's destination because the flight is so expensive for their company or their organization to send them there, then that's a risk for their bottom line too. So it's, you know, it's a big problem.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
And especially with the way, I mean, I hate to say it, but airlines have been running. I mean, there was Destinations International just had their annual conference in Tampa. It's like a week-long conference. People, and this happened the weekend of that computer glitch. I know people who had to rent vehicles and drive from Tampa to Madison or Green Bay or wherever.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing makes people go, do we send our team?
Right.
And so direct flight, like we know that direct flights is a huge thing, and we very much support Destination Madison's work on that. So does anybody have any questions about finances, expenses? I may not be able to answer everything immediately right now without going into our accounting software, but I can absolutely email you or do a second sort of report at the next meeting too, if you have a lot of questions. Are we good?
Yep.
Any questions?
Okay, so I'm backtracking a smidge. So like I said, our Q2 revenue came in at 475,181, which is great. Our reports came in, and June was looking good. Occupancy in June was 17.6% higher than last year. ADR was down 2.9, which isn't great. Demand was 18.5% higher. And revenue overall was 15.1% higher. So we're bringing people in, but obviously you guys are all fighting ADR. But luckily occupancy was able to outweigh that. July, different story. I only get the Middleton star report, so it's just our 9 hotels. And for July, 1.3% higher than July of last year, occupancy. So our occupancy wasn't super high, and we were kind of talking about what might have driven that. And I personally think that the RNC in Milwaukee affected whether or not some people took their extra 3-day weekends here or even wanted to travel up here during RNC week because they didn't want to meet the traffic. ADR was down 6.2% in July citywide, and revenue was down 5.1%. from last year. So July was very hard. And we didn't, from what I could tell, there is no piece of business that we lost or annual piece or forecasted piece of business that we lost. The only thing I can think of is that people who might have normally come up here for a long weekend or a vacation decided to either attend the RNC or avoid this entire 100-mile radius due to everything that was going on.
We, we took a big hit in July just because of Job's daughters being here last year.
That's right.
And that was
That's right.
2,350 room nights or whatever. So that was huge for our downfall. But then we did pick up a good amount of leisure in a sense to kind of balance that out at our property alone. But I think that could have something to do with it too.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, because that makes
It's hard
sense.
to replace
Yes.
2,300.
We hope that they come back to us because they got out into the community a lot last
They
year,
did.
and everybody was like, "Who are these
Yeah.
groups of young women? They're so
Mhm.
polite and they're so nice, and they're
Yeah.
coming in and buying all the stuff."
Yeah.
Visitor guide contract. The last finance committee meeting. I'm just moving along, by the way. If you have questions, raise your hand or yell. The visitor guide contract, the last finance committee meeting had to be canceled because they couldn't make quorum, so they're actually reviewing it tonight. So after this, I will go do that. Personnel update I already gave you. Maggie is going to be starting September 9th, and we're very excited to have her. And we'll probably try to she'll definitely be here for the next commission meeting, so hopefully we can do more in person, but we'll try to make rounds too. Company vehicle update, I kind of gave you already what it did come out to, and this was my first question when I called the mock. I drove up to Minocqua for a meeting. Is that where it was? Minocqua? Yeah, Let's Minocqua. That's their title, their slogan. And I got all the way up there and realized that the front and back passenger floor was completely flooded. There's this much water, standing water above the carpet. And because I pulled my laptop up and the entire thing was soaked, but the laptop luckily was fine. So the first thing I'm doing is I spent the entire night trying to find shop vacs, nothing. But my first question was, could the AC have leaked? And they're like, oh no, that's not it. There has to be a leak in the seal. It turned out to be the AC was leaking into the vehicle. So the mock got it fixed and professionally cleaned for us so that doesn't smell like mildew. And the nice hotel manager found a shop vac and helped me at least suck out enough that it wasn't sloshing. And this was after I purchased 3 beach towels and spent 2 hours soaking it up and wringing it out, buckets load. It was the craziest night. It was a lake town and you couldn't buy a shop vac or a wet vac anywhere. It was like, what? I got to know that town so well though. I know where everything is. So that is the reason why we had to increase that budget line. And the mock, we were up for a new car this year. I put them off. They wanted us to get a new car in 2025. I put them off. But they said in 2025, we have to sit down and start looking and budget. And they want us to purchase a new vehicle because then it's under a longer warranty and they only purchase Fords through the city and all of that. We can discuss that in the future on how much we want to spend. They are saying, though, that we don't look at hybrid or electric because we would be on a wait list because of the kind of vehicle we need.
You get GT 500.
Yeah, if we want to put $100,000 in here. But I asked, I was like, so are we looking at a hybrid? And we definitely need something that's at least a small to medium-sized SUV to carry the tents and all the other things. Something slightly bigger than mine because it doesn't fit in my car. And so we've had to use Laura's a couple of times when the Flex wasn't available. And so we will be looking at that in 2025. I'm going to sit down with them. We're going to start shopping. We're going to try to figure it out whether we do. And if we do used, we will make sure that we go through Carfax, that we don't buy somebody's rental vehicle because they're terrible. But we probably will have to decide if we're going to do a vehicle or not. And I just from randomly looking at how much Laura drives around the town and the area, including our conferences, if we were to pay her mileage for that, it would really, really add up. And I don't want her having to use her personal vehicle, but also if we were to rent vehicles to do out of town stuff, that would very much, and then the hauling.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. It'd be like, who has a pickup? Who can help us? So I think that we're going to have to replace it, but he said that they're gonna try to get it to limp along for one more year for us. We don't drive it tons in the winter. We're definitely gonna have it checked out before we leave for Woodcut though.
Yeah.
I'm not driving up to Appleton in that thing until I know.
Right.
We have all of our vans serviced at Middleton Ford and they treat us really well, so.
Well, the mop does all of ours. I mean,
Okay.
like they're professional
Yep.
mechanics. But they only do Fords because of something.
Sure.
I don't know vehicles, people. I drive a silver one. So I just wanted to give you that update. And that's really it for me for the director's report. And we did the only thing under miscellany was the budget.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, people.
Does anyone have any items to add for next meeting's agenda? Any notes? Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second,
All those in favor?
I.
Aye.
Adjourned.
Yay, thank you all. I'm
Beautiful.
gonna stop recording.